After doing pre-processing using Photo Raw or Camera Raw, it's time to be able to edit the picture in Photoshop. And so this is what I'm going to do now. And there's some things that I want to edit on this picture. But before I do so, I want to make you aware of a few things in the interface. There's the menu items up here, the file, edit, image, and so on. And then there's the tools over here. So these are tools, these are menus. Every time you click on a tool, it changes these options here for the tool. So these are the tool options, and these are the tools. Over here, there are the panels. And these panels, right now I have color swatches, styles, and then layers, channels, and paths. One of the most common panels you will use is the layers panel. If you don't see it, you can click on window and say you want to see layers. Layers is F7 also if you want to do the shortcut to it. And you can see that some of these layers also, some of these panels have shortcut keys, many don't. And as you get to know Photoshop, you will learn to use some of these. For this purposes of this particular tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use this spot healing brush tool right here. So I'll select that. We're going to use the lasso tool, and then we're going to use the select menu item here. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to use, and it's one of the most useful, especially when you're working with faces, is the spot healing brush tool. There's one tool I didn't mention. It's the zoom tool. I'm going to click on the zoom tool or just press Z on my keyboard. That activates that zoom tool. And I'm going to zoom in on this face of this particular person. And you'll notice that he has a few blemishes and some moles that we can clear up. He also has, some stuff down here, some little blemishes. We're going to clear those up also. We're also going to, I'm not going to enhance the eyes on this one, but we're also going to take care of these wrinkles. So with the spot healing brush, I'm going to click on it to activate it. Notice I have some options up here. I'm going to make sure it's content aware. And then I'm going to clear up this blemish that he has on his skin. Now on my keyboard, just above the enter key, or if you're on a Mac, it's the return key, there's the brackets. If I hit the right bracket tool, it increases the size of the brush. If I hit the left bracket tool, it decreases the size of the brush. And that goes for many of the tools that you'll use over here, the left and right brackets, so you should remember that. Those increase and decrease the size of it. So I'm going to make it just a little bigger, and I'm going to zap that blemish, and it takes into account the information around there that's similar, and it copies it. Or it fixes the blemish. It does this kind of magic that it does. I'm going to zap that one also. I'm going to get rid of this little mole that I have that's right here, and this one right there. And now I've cleared up a few little blems on this. The other thing you notice is that I have on this picture some little too much reflection from the flash. I'm just going to drag over that, and it just makes it so it's not so reflecty. There's some other places where I have some reflection, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Now using the spot healing brush, I'm also going to get rid of some of these wrinkles. I'm just going to make the brush a little smaller and then drag across here. And notice how that magically takes care of some wrinkles. Now sometimes when you do this, it makes it look bad, and you can undo it by using Control-Z on your keyboard to go back one do. If you need to go back more than one step, you go Control-Alt-Z and it steps backward. Now I'm not sure if I like that one right there because I don't think it looks too natural. So I'm going to undo that. I'm just going to do it again. I'm going to do it in 2 segments because sometimes it looks better if you do it in 2 segments. There you go. And now we're going to take care of that wrinkle. Missed that part of it. And, you know what I didn't do at the start of this? I forgot to duplicate the layer before I did this. Usually when you're doing work like this, you want to duplicate the background layer. But I wasn't doing anything that I don't mind going back to. It's just that I can't see the original quickly. That's what I wanted to do. So I'm going to go Control-J, and that duplicates the active layer. Control J. I like to think duplicate instead of duplicate because that's how I remember it's Control J. Otherwise I'd use Control D, but that's deselect in here. So now I've taken care of a lot of that. I'm just going to get something on the neck here. A few of these little spots that are there. Take care of that. Look at that freckle right there. Is there any other spots that I need to clear up? Now I'm working on layer 1, you'll notice. That any changes I make while layer 1 is active doesn't affect the background layer. So now we can start looking at the difference. So if I hide the front layer, now you can see those spots that were there before. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to hit Control 0 to get a full view of what I have here. And this purple background, I don't like all the lines and stuff that are in it, so I am going to select a color region, and that's the purple color region because there's no really purple on me. So I'm just going to go to Select, and I'm going to select a color range. And you can see me in this color range dialog box. You can see where I am, but I don't want to select me. I want to select this color range. So I am just going to click that area around me for the, I'm going to start again. I just want to select that area that's around the head here. There we go. So what I'm doing is holding down the Shift key and using that tool right there. I can use the plus tool and then it adds to the selection. There we go. What I'm doing is selecting an area around the head there. There we go. You can start seeing how that's coming into play. I don't want to select my head. And now I want it to be fuzzy. So I'm going to turn the fuzziness up a little bit. Now I'm going to click OK to make the selection. Okay, notice how it's selected this purple area. It hasn't selected my head. The thing that I want to do with this is I want to blur this so it looks smoother in the background. To do that, I'm going to use a tool. I'm going to use a filter. I'm going to use a blur, and I'm going to use a Gaussian blur. I'm going to move this over so I can see the area that I'm going to blur. And I want to blur it at about 5 pixels, I think. You notice the preview does that. Now it's only going to blur the area that's selected. So I click on that, and notice how it immediately applied that blur. It doesn't look as I don't know what's the word. It doesn't look as linear as it did before. I'm going to do another filter. Not the sharpen. I want to. What I want to do is, I believe, change the noise a little bit. I'm going to use the median choice of noise here, and I'm going to again drag that over so I can see what it looks like back there. And notice how you can see all the different colors there. I'm going to just turn the radius up a little bit. I'm going to see a lot of that change, a lot of that just smooth out. And I'm going to deselect, Control D, remember that? And that changes the way it looked from before. Let's look at the previous to this. I kind of like that better. It makes the background look blurred and then kind of a little more uniform. That's it for this tutorial. So in this tutorial you learned how to fix minor blemishes that are on skin. You learned how to use a selection tool here to select a color range, which is a good way to choose. There are other ways to choose. There's selection tools over here, and we'll do that in a subsequent lesson. But before you do anything, make sure you duplicate the layer so you can have it before and after. You can look at it easily. And you don't also, if you really screw up, you make a bad mistake, you can just go and delete this layer and then start with the background layer again. And that's pretty much it for now. I'll see you in the next lesson.